Hey everyone, and welcome to a new video. My name is Simon D'Entremont, and I'm a professional nature and wildlife photographer from Eastern Canada. I keep hearing on social media, I wish I could follow you around for a day. So here it is. I have the most amazing job in the world. I get to spend time in nature, travel the world, and take photographs of amazing wildlife and landscapes. Lions, birds, storms, waterfalls, elephants, eclipses, leopards, and anything else from the natural world. Stay in amazing places and eat the most amazing food. But is it as glamorous as it looks? Hang around while I show you what a typical day looks like. For any wildlife photographer, the day starts early. Rather than rush out the door, I like a coffee to perk me up. Then it's a check of weather apps for weather conditions so I can dress appropriately, and the wind direction as large birds need the lift of the wind to take off. I also check the tides if I'm going near the ocean. Maybe even check websites like ebird.org to see if there have been any rare sightings. Ooh, and I noticed this morning it's giving no wind and cool conditions. That gives me an idea about a subject to photograph. The breath of singing birds. I've done it before, but I love to get some more. Then I need to pack up my gear, which will depend on my location and species being photographed. While I can get nice elephant photos while on safari using a 70 to 200mm lens, for birds we're bringing out the big guy, a 600mm f4, and an extra battery and a memory card in the camera. It's important not to leave home without memory cards. Don't ask me how I know. Driving in the dark is nothing new. There are two advantages to get an early start for the day. Number one is that in most cases, wildlife is the most active early in the day, either still being active from overnight or just getting up and feeling hungry. Also, the best light is in the morning. Colorful, but not as harsh as midday when the light is less flattering. I'll decide where to go based on conditions. Today the wind is calm and it's cold. Great conditions for photographing the breath of singing birds. So that's my plan. I've photographed that before, but it's always a treat worth doing again. Some beautiful northern pintails swimming in the water lit by the morning sun. I like getting a low angle for my photos, which means getting dirty, but it makes for beautiful photos. This morning we're going after birds, but rather common ones. You may be asking, why would I do that? That's because one of my best tips for photographers is to stop always looking for exotic stuff and try to make art from the most common species around you. If you can't find uncommon subjects, take uncommon photos of the common ones. This time of year, the newly arrived migrants are at one of my favorite marshes and are singing away and displaying. But I'm here to capture the breath of singing birds, especially these red-winged blackbirds. Before the sun comes up, you can't really see the breath yet. I need a little bit more light. The sun is starting to come up and the breath is getting even more visible, starting to look good. And finally, with no wind, cold conditions, a dark background, and some sun, that looks amazing. I've finally got my shot and I'm happy. As you can see, I take tons of photos and just keep shooting, and then I can pick out the best one. Here are some of the photos I got this morning of singing red-winged blackbirds. Always a treat. Now it's time to check out other locations. I found some tree swallows flying in and out of some nest boxes that have been. They're flying in and out and getting together in pairs. This gives me an idea. I can try to get some photos of these tree swallows as they're coming into land. I gotta get my shutter speed up to freeze the fast action, and as they come in, I shoot in bursts and try to get as many photos as I can. They're coming in with nesting material, and I get lots of interesting poses as they come into land into the nest box. By mid-morning, the light's gotten pretty harsh and it's time to go home. But I was able to come away with lots of great photos from the morning. Common grackles, mallards, tree swallows in different poses as they came into land. Lots of ducks, geese, and of course, singing red-winged blackbirds. Now it's time for the drive home and to plan for the rest of my day. When I get home, I try to do a few things systematically so as to not miss any steps. I put my battery pack in the charger and load my photos onto my storage devices called Network Attached Storage, or NAS. I have one for photos, one for video, and one to back up my computer. In there are multiple hard drives that store 2 copies of all my files, and I back up a 3rd copy to the cloud. These are my photography business prime assets, so they need to be kept safe. Now it's time to get on with the business part of my day. What? You mean it's not just sitting on a sunny beach photographing birds going by, and there's real work? You bet. While I don't post on social media every day, it's nice to stay active on there. So here I'll pick one of my favorite shots of the morning, give it a quick processing to look good, 5 minutes at the most, then posting to Facebook and Instagram. While I'm on my social media channels, it's time to go and answer some questions that have come up on those platforms or on YouTube. I still answer almost every question asked, but it'll soon be very hard to get them all as the numbers are starting to get pretty big. But I do the best I can. Now it's off to my to-do list. I'm keeping track of things on Milanote here. Milanote is a tool for organizing your creative projects. My next task is working on a new YouTube video. I keep a master list of ideas to choose from, and for each video I go through my list to pick out the best. I may add a new one if an idea comes up, or delete an old one if I decide it's not so good of an idea after all. After I pick a subject, then it's script writing and making sure I explain things with a good pedagogical approach that's logical and understandable. I write out a script for educational videos as I ramble less and less ums and ahs. If I have gaps of knowledge that need refreshing, I may do some research to make sure I get the details right. Now it's time to do some work planning for my tours. But I need to decide how many and where to offer them in 2025 and 2026. This one is getting complicated as I need to plan multiple years and multiple tours in different countries. Here's how I use Milanote to organize things and help me figure it out. I'm a visual learner, so displaying this out graphically really helps to see where I'm at. I have my to-do list up here in the corner to remind me of tasks and when I need to get them done. I also have a folder for photo assets to help promote my tours. Now here's 2024. In this column, I have one column per year. My color-coded system is that these green squares are tours that I've set up and booked. I have 3 to Botswana to do later this year, as you can see. Each green square is actually a board on its own, as Milanote calls them, which I can open up. I've cleaned this one up to show you, but in there I have my checklist before leaving on a trip, a participants list, and a waiting list in case of cancellations. And see these lines? These mean I have forms for these tours ready to go, but I store them all over here in this box, including registration forms, financial transfer forms, and so on. But now I need to turn my attention to 2025. As you can see by the green box, I already have one tour booked and filled. So do I add another tour for Kenya for 2025? I actually have a waiting list for people wanting to go. Maybe I make them back to back so I can spend less time in an airport. I think I'll add a second tour right after this one. Right click and hit duplicate. Easy peasy. I also have some yellow boards here. These are my tentative tours that I'm seriously considering, but I haven't nailed down yet. One to Botswana, and I have Svalbard, that's north of Norway, for polar bears on my tentative list, as I'm going there in a week to scout it out for a potential tour next year. Everybody keeps telling me they want to photograph polar bears. As you can see, Milanote really helps me organize my thoughts both in yearly schedules, but also by tour. I love how you can easily drag and drop any tools you need, like text boxes and task lists and web links. See here? I put links to my website pages for each tour so I can check them out. Finally, Milanote is available for free with no time limit. Sign up using the link in the description below and start or manage your creative project even more effectively than ever. Now it's on to more of my business day. I'm double checking some flight details with my travel agent Shelley about my upcoming trip to Botswana. Can't wait to get on the Chobe River for some elephant photography. Now on to a bit of video recording and editing. You may be surprised to learn how much work goes into making a YouTube video. Hours in the field at times, or hours planning or researching a script. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Test, 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 test. Hey everybody, and welcome to a new video. Then editing the video, which can take 30 minutes to an hour per minute of video time. So a 12-minute video can take me 8 hours to edit, cutting here and adding sound effects there. I also like to find and shoot footage to demonstrate the points I'm making. I'm a visual learner and I think it helps make my videos more engaging to watch. But it's a lot of work. And now it's time to finish my day. I thought I'd show you a little bit of the real me talking to you in real time. I hope you enjoyed following me as I show you what goes into the typical day of a wildlife photographer. Interestingly enough, many people are surprised to find out how little time I get to spend in the field. When I'm in Africa on tours and workshops, I might spend 6 to 8 hours per day out in the field taking photos. When I'm at home, I might only be able to get out 2 or 3 times a week for wildlife photography and videography, which I enjoy very much. A lot of my days are filled with business. Having tours in Africa means I have suppliers to deal with over there, including paying them. I also have lots of questions from people coming in on those tours, such as what lenses should I bring, what kind of clothing should I bring. Working with sponsors like Millinote that sponsored this video also includes business negotiations and contracts. Keeping up with my emails is always a challenging task, especially answering questions from viewers, but I really like to engage with them when I can, but sometimes it's tough. And as you've seen, planning, recording, and editing videos is a big job and takes a lot of time. But in the end, I'm the luckiest guy in the world, being able to do what I love, travel the world, spend time in nature, spend a bit of time in the office as well, but I get to help people with their photography, which I very much enjoy and which keeps me motivated. I hope you enjoyed this video and consider subscribing if you like photography tips or you like to get out in nature. I hope you can get out there and take your own amazing and unique photos. I know you can do it.